Schöckl is a grand, 4,741-foot mountain crest that stands glad for the scene encompassing Graz, Austria, not a long way from the Magna Steyr gathering plant where the Mercedes-Benz G-class SUV is still to a great extent handworked under contract for the three-pointed star. That will remain the case after the principal all-new G-class and very nearly 40 years debuts at the 2018 Detroit Auto Show.A hotspot for climbers and mountain bikers. The Schöckl's criticalness to the auto world lies in the 3.5 miles of soak, shake strewn goatways that chop down its flanks and over the bend landing area street that prompts its summit. This is the otherworldly home of the Geländewagen, which, regardless of its propelled age and luxurious sticker price, stays one of the world's first-generation rough-terrain drivers. What's more, to soothe any worries that its architects have become delicate from many years of redesigning a similar old military apparatus for use by very much obeyed regular citizens, Mercedes welcomed us to lash in for a sea ride down the Schöckl in the principal G-wagen intended for the 21st century.While more noteworthy refinement and on-street drivability were the essential objectives for the new 2019 G-class. Singular test donkeys additionally needed to survive more than 1,200 improvement miles on this Austrian Rubicon before getting the green light. Unfortunately, we weren't permitted in the driver's seat, and the length of asphalt we canvassed while riding in delicately disguised G550 models could be estimated in feet. In any case, this is as yet essential stuff, with the G-class ability here supporting its X-factor as a refreshingly foolish redirection from the SUV norm.Mercedes presently can't seem to discharge full points of interest in specs. However, we realize that for all intents and purposes the whole G-class bundle is new, down to its stiffer, completely boxed step outline manufactured from steel. However, so nearly do the new truck's extents cling to the first step exclusive very close do you see that it has grown 2.1 inches longer and 2.5 inches more extensive, with an extra 1.6 scrolls between the axles, little numbers that outcome in an outstandingly roomier and more usable lodge, especially for race-situate riders. Bigger circle brakes front and back require the passage-level G550s where no less than 18-inch wheels. 20s likewise will be accessible, with the elite Mercedes-AMG G63 variant anticipated that would move on 22 inches and pick up the vertically slatted Panamericana grille that is spreading over the sub-brand's lineup. Because of more quick-witted building and the utilization of lightweight materials, for example, aluminum for the hood and entryways, Mercedes says that control weight should descend by around 300 pounds as opposed to existing models, which in our testing have weighed about 6,000 pounds. Dropping into the Schöckl with Benz's aircraft testers is a puckering jump into vehicular twistedness. With purely expanded approach and break-over points, 31 and 26 degrees, the flight edge stays at 30 degrees, and additionally marginally more ground freedom than the current G550's 8.1 inches, the new G neatly explores soak edges and enormous rocks that would detach the guards generally SUVs. It likewise adheres to more extreme side slants than the old truck, thanks to some degree to a 4.8-inch more extensive track, and it can passage 27.6 creeps of water, about 4 inches more than some time recently. Different changes to the G's establishment incorporate moving the drivetrain over the least piece of the edge for expanded underbody assurance and mounting the fuel tank in front of the back hub for enhanced crash performance. The G-wagon's most critical refresh, a free front suspension set up of a live hub, was instantly evident moving, where the old truck's bouncy, solid-legged movements are supplanted by a more noteworthy self-restraint that had all the earmarks of being far less demanding to oversee. Front wheel enunciation was vastly improved, controlled as the G crossed sharp shakes and profound grooves, while its true blue, variable proportion, electrically held track and pinion guiding never constrained the driver to saw in the driver's seat the way one needed to do with the recycling ball setup in the old truck. A live back pivot still lives under the back end, in spite of the fact that the previous trailing arm setup has been supplanted by a more exact course of action utilizing a pan-hard pull. Steel loop springs and versatile dampers bolster each corner. Execution-arranged AMG models will utilize a more road cordial setup, including a back hostile-to-move bar that the G550 lacks. Thanks to some degree to the enormous front control arms mounted high in the new G-class undercarriage, with the bending strut tower support entwining their mounts for additional quality. Mercedes says general suspension setout has expanded marginally to 7.3 creeps in advance and 8.8 crawls toward the rear. That is not a considerable measure for a committed wilderness romper, and the 265/60R18 Falcon Wildtrak off-road tires on the pre-production models were unassumingly estimated. However, our G showed amazing stun retention and state-of-mind control notwithstanding when it was lurching downhill at close neglectful speeds. The G550's to a great extent vestige twin-turbo 4.0-liter V8 considered moving up the Schöckl's inclines with an overabundance of energy and clamor. Mercedes won't yet cite particular yields, however it felt like the models made in any event the 416 pull of the current G550. We expect approximately 600 steeds in the new G63 as an AMG tuned 4.0-liter supplants the current model's 5.5-liter plant. The past 7-speed programmed transmission clears a path for another brisk-moving 9-speed unit imparted to other current Benzes, yet highlighting a one-of-a-kind packaging that fuses the 2-speed exchange case with a default 40-60% front, raised-to-work split. Here, as well, the AMG ought to have its own particular changes. The switches for the G's standard front, focus, and backlocking differentials remain unmistakably put in the focal point of the dashboard. Alongside sides leave the pleat channels that fill deforested areas with a beefy V8 under, other fundamental G-wagen attributes that influence the bounds to the new model to incorporate entryways that nearby with the vault-like cockunk and open with the delightful click of a jolt activity rifle. While in a few markets the G's locking diffs will be fit for being initiated autonomously of its all-wheel drive mode, well-being worries in the US manage that our models will do as such just when in low range, which in the new G550 utilizes a considerably more prominent apparatus lessening than earlier, 2.93:1 versus 2.10:1. Flipping the low extend catch on the inside reassure likewise connects with another G-mode rough terrain setting that amplifies footing and mobility by softening the dampers, altering the programming of the motor and transmission, and deactivating the electronic soundness control. There remain solace, echo, game, and individual setups for the road. No measure of innovation makes rising Schöckl Mountain as arresting as the express outing down. Be that as it may, the G's additional adapting and selectable lockers kept it chugging forward when just 2 or 3 its tires were touching the ground, which another 360-degree rough terrain camera framework makes simpler to manage without a spotter outside the vehicle. It was clear even from our short ride in the Traveler Situate that Mercedes-Benz's training of the Geländewagen has had little impact on its bad-to-the-bone character. Regardless, we'll have much to find out about the 2019 G-Class once we at last get in the driver's seat, incorporating how it carries on in the spoiled and spoiling certifiable of 6-figure extravagance SUVs. In any case, if its street behavior are even near as formed and responsive as it felt on the Schöckl's convoluted trails, this present symbol's change ought to be brilliant.